Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vegan Spirituality Online Gathering. And I'm one of your hosts. I'm Lisa Levinson. I'm the Director of In Defense of Animals Sustainable Activism Campaign, and also put together vegan spirituality groups across the country. And what we have here is one of our efforts to reach out to more people. So if you aren't in one of the cities where we offer an in-person vegan spirituality group, you can still connect with each other via this online gathering. So we're really excited to offer this. And my co-host is Judy Carmen, the author of Peace to All Beings, and she'll share a little more about herself. And also our guest is Rachel Augusta, and Judy will be giving us a little more details about Rachel in a moment. So first, I'd just like to welcome everyone and thank you so much for being part of our vegan spirituality community. This is our effort to explore veganism as a spiritual practice and to really have an opportunity to build community together. So we have a chat box for those of you who are online. You can chat, ask questions in the chat box. And the format of this presentation really is more of an interview. It's more conversational. So we'll have an interview with Rachel for the first part of it'll be maybe about 30, 40 minutes, something like that. We'll have an interview with Rachel, and then afterwards we'll open it up for questions from everyone else. So if you have questions or comments, things you'd like to share, you'll be able to do that either via phone or via the computer. So we're excited to have an opportunity to really speak amongst ourselves. And so I think with that, I just wanted to make a couple of other quick announcements. We do offer vegan spirituality retreats, and we have Compassion Fests, which are an effort to do an outreach with people around this idea of compassion, and equality, and justice. And so we have some fun upcoming events, and you can check those out at veganspirituality.com. And In Defense of Animals Sustainable Activism Campaign also has some cool things coming up. We have an animal activist online support group that actually meets in a couple weeks, and we do offer webinars for that as well to bring some new community care and self-care for animal activists. So we hope we have lots of things to offer you. Without any further ado, I'll let Judy take over.
Thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.
To have everybody here, and we're really excited to have Rachel speaking, and as a guest, gosh, we're really, really honored to have you here, Rachel. I'm Judy Carmen, and I'm the author of Peace to All Beings, and I have, with Will Tuttle and Madeline Tuttle, the Circle of Compassion, which hosts a noon prayer every day, which we invite everybody to say. And that website is circleofcompassion.org. And then we also have a Prayer Circle Facebook. So you're more than welcome to join that, and we share prayers for any animal that you might want prayers for, or groups of animals. So that is available. But let's get to Rachel. She is the owner of the Gutsy Grackle, and I love that. That is just the greatest name. And it is an energetic emergency room for all animals, including people. She's a licensed and insured healing touch for animals practitioner, Reiki master, and teacher. Rachel also classes on various topics that include hospice care, death, and grief, as well as chakras intensives. She's a practitioner at Hazelton Betty Ford Center in Center City, Minnesota, and is a public speaker on topics related to energy. So, wow. So be sure and visit the website, and it's over here. Lisa put it there on the chat box, so you can see that. And this is the mission statement. The Gutsy Grackle is dedicated in assisting all animals, humans included, with their health and well-being, their behavioral issues and emotional healing, their physical and their mental health, as well as enhance the animal-human bond through energetic connections and the application of energy medicine techniques, healing touch for animals, healing touch for humans, and Reiki and communication. So we are so excited and curious to hear what you do, Rachel. Why don't you start by telling us about your vegan journey? When did you become...
Judy, before we get into the interview, I just want to let people know that I'm here also to help with tech issues. So if you can't hear or something along those lines, please let me know. And Judy, there's a little sound that's coming, I think, from your phone. It could be. So you might maybe hold it a little further out, or there's just a little sound that's coming. So just be aware of that.
Is that any better?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that is better.
A little bit.
Okay. Also, Lisa, my website is... Oops, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say my website is gutsygrackle.com, not thegutsygrackle.com.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. I'll print a different one out there. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay. So thanks to both of you, and we can continue with our interview.
So I became vegan about close to 3.5 years ago, and that really happened after my little brother forced me to. I say that jokingly, but actually it's pretty true. I call him my little brother, but he's this huge guy. And he watched Earthlings, and it changed his life. And he wanted me to watch Earthlings, and I absolutely refused because I knew that there was enough graphic footage in this documentary that would be really detrimental to my psyche. And so that made him go on a mission because he's a little brother, right? And that's what little brothers do. So he was very obstinate and persistent, and I'm so grateful. So he basically convinced me to watch a lecture. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, yeah, that's fine. Okay, fine. I'll watch a lecture. It'll appease him, and then he can go away, and I won't have to think about this anymore. And about 20 minutes into this lecture, I said, oh, shoot, I'm vegan now. And there was no transition for me. There was no long period of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't have to go on any self-exploration. I immediately knew that I was vegan. I immediately knew that that's what I needed to do a long time ago and that I've been resisting it. So I took the cheese that was in my refrigerator and gave it to the mouse who was living in my apartment, and I've never looked back. So that's my journey.
That's awesome. How old is your little brother?
He is just turned 35, and actually a lot of people in the community know him. His name's Matt Johnson, and he is an active volunteer in this community, and he has volunteered with Sea Shepherd and went to the Faroe Islands and has done a lot of work, and I'm really proud of him, and I'm so grateful that he was such a bratty little brother on this topic because that's what I needed. I needed somebody to say to me, no, what you're doing is wrong, and I'm going to help you. And that's what he did. So, yeah.
Great. That gives us all confidence in being pushy.
You know, honestly, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, you should be nice about it. I don't, that didn't work with me, and it wouldn't have. I needed somebody to say to me, stop what you're doing and just take a minute to just let me show you something that you probably don't know. And I will be honest and say I had a sort of hatred for vegans, and I'm not really sure why, because, you know, people are like, oh, I know what veganism is. Well, you really don't. Otherwise, you'd be vegan. And, you know, and I went to an arts high school, and I knew vegans there, and I had been a vegetarian at, you know, one point in my life, and I was like, oh, I know what vegans are. I'm not going to do that. I did that in high school. I'm way more advanced than you, and I buy sustainable, humanely killed meat, and I know what I'm talking about because I am very educated on the subject. And it really took somebody to sit me down and go, "You're wrong."
Oh. Do you remember the lecture that you listened to?
Yeah, I listened to Gary Yourofsky's Best Speech, and then I also listened to yeah, because it's no nonsense. And that's honestly what I connected to. And I know, some people connect to it, some people don't. I really needed somebody to say to me, stop what you're doing. That's enough.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's not cool. You are hurting so many people. You need to stop. And that was really the approach that worked with me. And maybe that's because I live in Minnesota. I'm surrounded by German and Swedish people up here, and that's really our mode, our technique.
Yeah.
So that really worked for me. And then I listened to Melanie Joy, and I really connected to that as well. But I really needed someone to say to me, enough is enough.
Mm-hmm. And, Rachel, so was Gary Yourofsky's lecture, was it any particular one?
The Best Speech.
Yeah.
It's known on YouTube as The Best Speech.
Right. The Best Speech Ever or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Best Speech Ever. He's since updated it. I haven't watched the updated version, but I've watched that one quite a few times because every time I listen to it, I pick up something new. And the same with Melanie Joy. I probably have watched Melanie Joy's lecture 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So.
Yeah.
Really and I think it's good to give lectures to people who refuse to watch graphic footage, which can be a problem. Yeah. I've met so many people like, no, I can't see anything that's going to make me feel bad. And so I really then direct people to lectures because I could relate to that.
Yeah. I have a friend who is just handing his lecture out on CDs all over the place, wherever she goes.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It is, yeah. Well, and it's good to hear your perspective of what it was like for you before you went vegan, because you felt like you did know what was going on and that you had figured out the best way to eat.
Oh,
and
totally.
We run into that a lot as vegans,
totally.
Trying to talk to people.
Totally. Yep, I think the two hardest groups to talk to are environmentalists and people who are part of the humane myth and lie, because those two groups are very educated groups of people.
Yes.
They've done research, and, with the humane lie, those people have convinced themselves, because they've visited farms and met the cows that have been named, that what they're doing is good. And I know that because I was that person. And I've since had conversations with those people, and they are the most difficult people to have conversations with because they're educated and they feel like they know more than you do. Whereas if you go to, out in the middle of nowhere and walk into a parking lot of a Walmart and say something to somebody like, did you know? They're horrified usually because they didn't know, they had no idea, and they're very willing to listen to you.
More open, yeah. Right.
They're much more open. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you this next question. In our correspondence, as we were planning this gathering, you said some things that were really made me curious, and I'm kind of quoting here. You wrote, Christianity and atheism have created a gap in our society that has convinced us there are only two ways to heal yourself, and this gap has fed into desperation. And then you talked about discovering the science behind a miracle worker, and that there is a miracle worker in each one of us. So please tell us more about this intriguing idea.
Definitely. And Lisa, can we pull up some of the slides? Can we go to the first slide that I
Sure.
for this?
Yeah. While I'm getting the slides, Rachel, do you mind sharing, if you know, the name of the lecture that Melanie Joy gave?
Yep, it's the psychology of eating meat.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So I'm pulling up the slides.
So basically, this journey that I started on, before I became a Reiki master and healing touch practitioner, I was actually in the process of wanting to start a manufacturing business, clothing for women. And then somebody very, very dear to me, who I have a very sacred, oh, there's a kitty, who I have a very sacred, deep bond with in this slide, Holly, my kitty, was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism. And when she was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, it was one of the worst moments in my life because while that might not seem very grim, what happens when a cat or a dog or someone is diagnosed with that is you're put on medication, and that medication ends up breaking down your liver and your kidneys, and it causes all sorts of problems in the body and will end up killing them. And hi, oh my gosh, that kitty. And so
hog in the camera again.
Walk over to my camera. I tell stories better when cats are on my lap. So in this picture, this is a picture of Holly, and she's really the person who put me on this journey, because when she was diagnosed, I was at this place all of a sudden in my life for the first time where I felt really helpless, and I needed to be a part of her healing process. And why that maybe sounds so drastic is because she was a cat. And the reality is that non-human animals aren't given the same respect that humans are. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to get the medical care for her that if my child was human would receive. And I felt like I really just needed to be a part of this process. I needed to help in whatever capacity that was. And I knew I didn't have time to go to school and become a veterinarian. At this point, Holly was already 17 and a half years old. And that was part of the other issue, is that her veterinarian was like, oh, she's an 18-year-old cat. Oh, well, who cares? And that's really how our medical field treats animals, even veterinarians who love animals. You know, they're like, oh, well, they're old, so what do we do? Euthanize? You know, and it was really disturbing to me. So I decided to figure out how I could help. And I discovered this school that teaches energy medicine specifically to animals, and that was Healing Touch for Animals. And I didn't know anything about it at the time. Yes, I knew about chakras, I knew about energy, but in a very, simple way. And so I decided to register for class, and I started taking these classes, and I started using these techniques that they were teaching me how to use for, cancer protocol, old age, injury, disease, illness, behavioral. And I was seeing just drastic changes in Holly, and, really seeing her feel better. And I could tell that she was having pain relief. And I started doing this with my friends' animals, and then all of a sudden, this was my job, and this is what I was doing. And her veterinarian, Holly's veterinarian, the thing about hyperthyroidism, which I mentioned, they are put on medication that ends up breaking down their organs. That has to be increased about every 3 months, and because their bodies become used to it. And over the course of a year and a half, this medication never needed to be increased. And her veterinarian said, oh, this is so weird. I've never seen this before in my whole life. I don't understand why we don't have to increase the dosage. And I explained, well, I'm an energy practitioner and I'm doing energy work on her. And the veterinarian's response was, well, that's not it, but I don't understand why. And I kind of gave up trying to explain this to my veterinarian, to Holly's veterinarian, because I knew what was going on. And so anyway, I'm doing this work. All of a sudden, I'm working with all sorts of people, and all of a sudden, I have these questions coming at me from two different groups, from Christians and from atheists. And so, can we change the slide? Or do you want me to, Lisa? Okay.
Yeah, you can change them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so even though, like, I was seeing these drastic results with Holly and other animals, not just Holly, but other animals, that were just profound. It was profound healing was taking place. Why is it that not more people are using energy therapy to heal themselves and to their companions? And I realized there's two main reasons for that. And the first is that people are skeptical, they're confused, fearful of energy. And that's the first. And the second is that physicians don't learn about physics in medical school, and often they need the basics of energy explained to them. And so those are the two main reasons why people don't go to energy medicine. And so you have these two groups of people start asking you questions. You have Christians and atheists. And the Christians are, what are you doing? Is this satanic? Is this witchcraft? What's going on? And, these were family members of mine that really wanted to, really understand what I was doing, but it was confusing to them and a little bit scary to them. Are you praying to God? Is that how you're healing people? Is it through prayer? Sort of questions. But then I had this other group saying to me, I don't believe in what you do at all. And are you, basically saying I was selling snake oil. And I even had atheist clients say to me, I don't believe in what you do at all, but it's the only thing that works, so I keep hiring you. strange thing. And so I started to really look at that and go, what's going on here? And basically, Christians believe that the only person who can actually heal someone with their hands is Jesus, and he's dead. But you can only get that through Jesus and God. And if we were going to talk about Jesus, and let's just say, hypothetically, let's just say, yes, Jesus existed, and he is a guy that walked on the planet. And he healed people with leprosy, that had leprosy, and he did it by putting his hands on them. Okay, well, there's actually a lot of energy practitioners that do believe that, and they believe that Jesus was channeling energy. And so, let's just say that's true, whether we know, let's just say, okay, we will choose to believe this story. Would we then say that this is a gift that only one person has, and they took it with them and left this planet, and it died with them? And, that would be like, let's say Jesus was a master healer, and Buddha is he's a master of meditation. Does Buddha say, I'm so good at this, but don't learn from me. This is just my gift. I just want to show you what I can do. That's not true. Buddha says, learn from me. And actually, I am not hugely religious, and, I'm not Christian, but the Bible does say, Jesus saying, do what I do. learn from me. Do it better than I do it. Mm-hmm. And so so there's that. But then we have this other group of people who don't believe in God, and I have this little picture down here that says adults with imaginary friends are stupid. So when you're doing energy medicine, because it can't be seen, you have this group of people that says, I don't believe in what you're doing at all. It sounds sort of Christian to me. And the funny thing about that is that that group has basically allowed Christianity to decide for them what they won't believe in. Basically, they're making such a strong stand. I don't believe in this because I can't see it, because I'm not Christian and you can't see God, therefore I don't believe in this. But there's a lot of things we can't see. Most people can't see electricity, and most people can't see sound vibration, and most people can't see, but we know that it exists. And I've been to the ocean, but I can't see it. I know it's there. And so to say, because I don't see it, I don't believe in it, is actually really goes against their rules. If you are atheist, then you must be scientifically minded. And if you're scientifically minded, then how can you not believe in energy? Because we know that we're made out of energy. We know our bodies are made out of energy. We know our bodies are made out of energy and water. And we know that the moon's energy affects the ocean. Why then would it not also affect us if we're made out of water and energy? And so when you start having these conversations with people, all of a sudden they stop in their tracks and go, you know what? You're right. I think I have let Christianity make me decide that I wouldn't believe in the science that I actually do believe in because I couldn't see it. Mm-hmm. But the reality is with both of those things, they both take faith and hope and believing. And that's where we come together, because even there's Einstein has said, scientists say all the time, yes, we know this is true. We don't really know how. And yes, we know that quantum physics has been proven, but we're not really sure how it works. And it takes a lot of faith and a lot of hope. And so does Christianity. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And so you're saying that all of us can be miracle workers, that it's not a special gift, and you learned it by taking classes.
I am. Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I have a few more slides to just really explain to you how it works. And that really anybody can do it. And you can take that power back into your own hands, because what basically ends up happening with these two groups is if you only have God or your doctor to go to, that creates a lot of desperation in a lot of different situations. There are so many people who can't be diagnosed or have had a diagnosis, but their doctor can't do anything. That's pretty much everyone with autoimmune disease, right? Mm-hmm. They don't know a lot about autoimmune. You can't, if you're lucky, you can be diagnosed. But that doesn't mean that they can help you. Most of the time they can't. So then who do you go to after that? God? That's not very fair, right? So our society has given us those two options, which has created a lot of desperation in our society. So we all have this ability. So how energy healing works is through the physiological response. And this, regardless of whether you're Christian or atheist, cannot be debated. The relaxation response. So the relaxation response is when your body is relaxed, your brain creates endorphins. And when your brain creates endorphins, your muscles relax, which allows blood and oxygen to flow freely, which allows you to absorb nutrients and enzymes. Your hormones regulate. Your body begins to detox. It builds up your immune system so that you can heal more quickly. This happens, the relaxation response happens through energy healing. It happens through yoga, meditation, music. Anything that's going to get those endorphins in your brain going is going to create this response. If you go to the doctor and with, let's say, a broken leg, and they ask you what your pain level is, it's not because they're necessarily really empathetic to wanting to know if you're in pain. It's because you can't heal if you are in pain. So that is why they give you morphine. They give you morphine to get the relaxation response going. But you can also get that through energy medicine. And so in this next slide, there's two laws of physics that demystify energetics. One is Ampere's circuital law, and the second is Faraday's laws of induction. And what these two laws say is, so Ampere's law basically says that currents produced by the heart and organs give rise to biomagnetic fields and spiral from the hand. And then you have Faraday's law that says induction explains how your biomagnetic field can induce current flows in the people near you or when you touch them. So the electric field in the heart is the strongest field in the body, and the circulatory system is an excellent conductor of electricity. The heart's electricity is conducted to every single part of the body. So this is a little bit science that I'm giving you, but it will help you understand how we can all do this. So the heart's biomagnetic field is the most powerful field produced by the human body and can be measured with a sensitive magnetometer called a squid. And it's been proven that when you touch another person, or even when you bring your hand within 18 inches of their body, your your electrocardiogram begins to be detected in the other person's encephalogram.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like,
it
this
is.
is just through touch. You know, and we just don't, like, we take these for granted, you know, because we're using them all day long, but we're really taking for granted, like, our heart is this huge magnetic organ producing all of this electricity around our whole body. We have electricity spiraling from our hands, you know, and that's why, you know, you will walk into someone's presence and be like, oh, this feels so good, or not so much, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm sure everybody that's listening in has, before they've walked into a room, could feel the energy in the room, because you're feeling everyone's energy, literally. You really, really are. And so healing touch, Reiki, quantum touch, prana, T-touch, all of these energy healing forms, they all use energy, hands-on healing methods that channel energy through the heart while healing the body using the hands. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We have our heart that is producing all of this energy and spiraling around our whole body. We have energy spiraling from our hands. We've had two physics, you know, we have two laws in physics that have proven this, and have proven that we can change what's going on in someone else's body just by touching them. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of witchcraft here going on. And, you know, and honestly, as far as atheism goes, you know, I hope this gives some clarity too, that, you know, this is our body. This is what's going on. So it's pretty amazing because, you know, I took these classes to learn, and definitely I would recommend that to anybody. But you're all doing it already anyway.
So,
and that is why. No, go ahead.
I'm thinking about at a distance, what kind of energy can we project? Like, say we see a a truck going by filled with pigs on their way to slaughter. And it's been my belief that by sending them energy and love from our hearts, that we could at least give them a little comfort. So does that fit in with this?
Yeah, it does. And I do the same. I live in the city, so I rarely see that. But when I have jumped out of the city and seen the farms or the trucks, I do that because it's the least we can do, right? To say, I'm going to send this to you. And, that does work. And actually you're bringing up distance work. And that's where things get, where people really are like, you're doing witchcraft, or I don't believe in what you're doing at all. And that's because I have clients in England that I've never seen that I do energy work with. And it boils down to quantum physics. And that's a really hard one for a lot of people to understand or grasp. And it was for Einstein too. It's confusing. And that's where you get to this point where you're like, yeah, we know this works. We've proven it. We just don't understand how. And, there's a lot of things that we don't know. And really, it's the thing about this is that we don't know way more than we do know. And that's with the doctors as well. And that's where that desperation I was talking about comes in, because people, when you get sick, immediately it's like in our society, go to your doctor. And if it's so bad that they can't help you, go to God. Mm-hmm. That's a huge gap. Don't we have anything in there in between? And, and the reality is that doctors are great. Love doctors. If you break a leg or something, go to your doctor. But they aren't physicists, and there's a lot they just don't know. And, for example, when you scratch your hand, I heard this research scientist talking about this. When you scratch your hand, dead skin cells fall off, and your hand knows to regenerate new skin cells. And your body also knows when to stop. No biologist can answer why. No biologist can answer how it is that your body knows to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's a miracle.
It's a miracle. And it's one of those things that, that's just one example. I live in Minnesota. Everyone here, almost everyone I know, has Lyme's disease because of the ticks here. They don't know what to do for that. Most of my clients actually have autoimmune. A lot of them have Lyme's disease because, while they might be able to diagnose it, and it is super hard to diagnose. Mm-hmm. Once you're diagnosed, it's like, well, pray to God. I have a friend who has an autoimmune disease where her body doesn't produce collagen. And the Mayo Clinic's advice was for her to keep a clean house so she doesn't fall down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sucks. If that's what the medical field is giving you, then who do you go to after that? God? Okay, well, I'll just pray that I don't have a horrible life. And so that's that desperation that I talk about because it's totally not necessary. There's so many, there's some things you can do yourself, but then there's also acupuncture. There's so many different things that are out there, but our society has told us, no, don't, because you have these two groups saying only God can help you, or everything, all of that, none of that's real. Yeah.
Rachel, do you feel like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Do you feel like your vegan commitment has helped you be an energy practitioner and do hands-on healing?
Yeah.
Have you noticed
it definitely has. Yep. I definitely have, and I was a vegan actually before I became an energy practitioner.
Oh, okay.
But I will say this: you can only help someone as much as you are strong. And let's say everything's vibration. All food is vibration. Everything's vibration. There's pictures of food that are high vibration and low vibration. Meat and dairy, alcohol, processed food is low vibration food.
Very low, yeah.
Vegetables are high vibration food.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to raise your own vibration, which you are, so that you can give someone healing, because you can only heal them as strong as you are, you're definitely going to need to raise your vibration. Mm-hmm. So, yes, that is true.
I've heard other healers and psychics also say that they could tell a huge difference when they went vegan, that their energy level was just different, more vibrant, and like you're saying, vibrating at a higher level. Yeah.
Yep, it's definitely true. I mean, and I can tell when I've had if I've been eating veggie burgers and fries, I'm not going to be as energetically strong as when I'm eating sprouts and kale. And so it definitely plays a role into that, and just being grounded as well into, the earth and everything.
Right. It's almost as if the vegetables and fruit and the earth are also helping you heal or healing through you.
Oh, yeah, completely. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's why, it's important to even just think about, organic versus non-organic food, what you're actually eating, what you're putting into your body. And, and real quick, too, I want to mention that cancer is a low vibration energy within your body, and your body views it as an embryo it needs to feed, which is why it grows. So to combat cancer, you want to raise your body's vibration. You want to raise the vibration of the cancer in your body, because then your body then views it as a foreign object it needs to kill, which is what radiation does. Right. You can do that with hands-on healing, and you can do that with food, just making sure you have a high vibration body. So it's something to think about.
Well, there's so much research now showing that adopting a vegan diet, a plant-based diet, can cure cancer, basically, or prevent it. So,
right.
It makes sense.
And I would say that's probably why.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be why.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so your spiritual path, do you see that kind of working together with your veganism and your hands-on healing?
Yeah, I really do. I would say it's helping me live in alignment with my values. I'm not eating any of my patients. It always actually shocks me now when I meet animal healers, or, veterinarians have been going on a long time. It's weird when they eat animals, but when you eat an energy healer, when you meet an energy healer that still eats animals, especially when their business is focused on animals, or let's say animal communicators. You meet these people that communicate with animals. They know that they're sentient. They know that they have a soul. They know, but they'll still eat them. Yeah. That is so shocking to me. And one day I met this guy who asked me what I do, and I explained that to him. And he was, he looked like a trucker, greasy, overweight, he looked like he'd been living on an 18-wheeler for 2 years. And I found myself in a conversation with this guy about energy medicine and working with animals, and he asked me really interesting questions that maybe no one else has ever asked me before. And one of the questions he asked me was, would you heal a cow. Let's say a farmer called you and a cow, he wanted you to work on this cow. Would you work on the cow even though you knew the cow was going to be slaughtered and killed? And no one had ever asked me that question before.
Yeah.
And I actually had to think about it, and I was like, well, yeah, of course, because I'm doing this for the cow. And I would want to bring them some pain relief and some healing and some love into their life before they die. And he was like, thinking about it. And he asked me a few more questions and this went on for about an hour. And at the end of our conversation, he said, do you eat meat? And I said, no, I'm a vegan. And he said, thank God, because you would be a scary sociopath if you did.
Wow. That
and this guy, right? And he wasn't a vegetarian. He wasn't a vegan. He was just some guy sitting in a bar that looked like he'd been living on a truck for a year or two. And he made the connection.
Yeah.
He made the connection more than people in my colleagues do. And at the end of our conversation, he said, you know, you've really made me think about animals, and I'm really questioning myself now too. And I really think I'm going to make some changes in my life. And so to answer your question that was a little bit long, yeah, I do. I do feel like this does make a big difference because, you know, how can I say that I'm this energy healer and that I'm bringing healing to animals, but only specific animals? And how can I say that I'm this energy healer and I'm raising the vibration of the planet with meditation and healing when I'm completely destroying the planet and all of the beings on it with every single snack I eat? And, you know, and I have a hard time meeting people who call themselves light workers when they're not vegan. Has anybody here heard that term, light worker? I know a lot of you listening, you can't actually, but I'm sure we have. People say, I'm a light worker. Well, if they're not vegan, how are they light working? I mean, they're eating in a way where children are starving every 2 seconds. The rainforest is being completely destroyed. Animals are being slaughtered. People are dying. Our planet is being destroyed. How are you light working? Like, going into your office and meditating for a minute or two, that's the least you could do. I mean, going into a rock shop and buying rocks, that's the least you could do. That doesn't make you a light worker. You're barely picking up your own, you're not even picking up the own trash that you're leaving behind. And so, you know, I start to cringe now when I hear people say, oh, I'm a light worker, because I have yet to meet one who really isn't on a path of destruction on this planet. And that sounds maybe a little harsh, but that's the reality of it.
And it seems like it would be easy to reach them with the vegan message. But it's, again, like you were saying, that they've done so much research and studying that they feel like they've already figured it out. So
yeah, there's that. And then there's, you know, like a lot of, you know, people believe in animal totems.
Yes, right.
Well, you go to animal totems, but because they're bringing you knowledge and understanding of the planet and the earth and what's going on in your life, but you're still eating them. It doesn't make, it's cognitive dissonance, you know, dissonance. It doesn't make any sense. So
yeah. You know,
and we have
looking at the time, and we should open up for questions. We have some
and I
in
know
the chat box.
Sure. We do have some questions, and I'll change the format of the presentation, but I wanted to see just if, Rachel, did you want to share any other slides that you had before we move on into that other?
You know, real quick, I want to share a slide that I always think is really super profound. And I won't take a long time explaining, but this is a really good example of how energy don't fire your Western medical doctor. I mean, you need them still. But keep in mind that there's other options out there. So this is a slide of a dog. She's a patient of mine, and she had fatty tumors, still has fatty tumors. One of them turned hard, and while her guardian was at work, she decided to eat the tumor out herself. So her guardian gets home from work and sees her laying in a pool of her own blood, rushes her to the vet. The vet was like, oh, my God, your dog is 13 and turning 14 in a few days. If I were to operate on her, it would probably kill her. And so I'm not going to. We can either euthanize her right now, or I can send you home with pain medication and we can just let her die peacefully at home. So this woman decided to bring her dog Jilly home, and she called me and said, is there anything you can do? And I was like, well, I can't cure fatty tumors, but I can bring her pain relief and help her through this process. And she said, okay, fine, you're my medical team. This is a really great example of who do you go to? Your doctor said, I can't help you. So her other choices were go to God and pray that her dog's going to be okay and die peacefully at home. So we did 2 treatments with her. 6 days later, the upper right-hand one. So if you go from the upper left to upper right, that's just 6 days later. This is profound healing.
It's huge.
Profound healing without surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure we've all had bruises. Have you guys ever seen a bruise heal this quickly? I haven't. So this is profound healing. So this is Jilly's not ready to go. Down the lower left-hand corner, that was 30 days later, 4 treatments later. These treatments are only an hour long. And then she made it to her 14th birthday. This was in October. This last October. It's May now. Jilly's still around. She's still chasing balls. She's still having a great time. And this is a really good example that sometimes you have to consider that there might be more options than just God or your Western medical doctor. So I just really wanted to share that with everybody.
That's wonderful.
To give you hope. Your hands are powerful. Think of what you can do with your hands. So.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that and for showing these really important images. So many of us rely on what we see, and this is very profound.
Yeah. Yep. I just wanted to share that one.
So we're all
so we
I'd like
to questions if you want.
Yeah, great. Well, what we'll do is I'm going to close the. So for those people who are on the phone, Rachel was sharing a little PowerPoint with some images. Now, everyone who's participating, who registered for this event, will also get a replay link, and I'll send the PowerPoint to you via email. So you'll get that, and also the chat box details. So I'll send all of that to you sometime in the next couple weeks. So meanwhile, we'll close the presentation, and then you may hear a little recording when we switch from the listen only into the more open Q&A mode.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
So if you're on the phone, you can press *6 to ask a question for Rachel, and if not, then you can, if you're on the computer, there's a little icon next to your name. It could be a little microphone. You can click that and allow yourself opportunities to share with us. And you can always, anyone can, in the chat box, put a question or two, and I'll share it with Rachel.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, hi. Please say your name.
Hi, it's Lauren. It's Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great.
Hey, Rachel,
Good.
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for giving me another resource, another arrow in my quiver, because I'm a Reiki master. I'm an animal communicator. I talk to a lot of energy workers and so-called light workers who feel that it's perfectly okay to eat the turkey you just spoke to. And it gets under my skin so badly. And so
Yeah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait for the recording of this to come out, because I'm going to send it to every one of them and say, if you're a light worker, you listen to this, because it's not me saying it.
Send it my way.
Yeah, but thank you.
Well,
thank you for giving me a resource.
And you're welcome. And here's the other thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure Doreen Virtue coined that term, light worker. And if you look it up, the definition of light worker and Doreen Virtue, it's like someone who's devoted to saving the planet. And you're like, okay, breaks, record scratch. You aren't saving the planet if you're destroying it. So, yep, you're welcome. I'll tag team them.
Thank you. Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Lauren is one of our animal activist helpline counselors. She's also a big part of In Defense of Animals and how we offer support to activists. So thank you for that too.
Very important work. Yep, very important work.
Yeah. And we have anyone who wants to ask a question can also chime in, but we do have a question here in the chat box. And this one is from Cubit, and he's asking, for those who are stubbornly remain comfortably unaware, how does everybody, I think this is a question to the general group, so you can answer in the chat box, but also for Rachel, how does everybody feel about some concept called kill-free meals? And I guess this is if you like meat but oppose the slaughter of animals, then he's talking about something that happened, I guess, at the University of Minnesota, developed a technique to produce a kill-free, contamination-free meat products from harvested animal cells.
I think what he's talking about is the science that's coming out now, where they are regenerating cells from animals, and so that they don't have to kill. I mean, they'll still have to kill animals for it, but not in mass like they are now. And I personally have heard a lot of debate about this online, and I'm personally against it for a few reasons. And I mean, if you're having that conversation with somebody, we know that meat and dairy causes cancer. Why we don't need it? Why even have it? But it's also it's kind of creepy, and you still have animals that are being held in these facilities that they're taking the cells from. Yeah, they're not killing. Maybe get to a point where we're not killing billions, but we don't even need to do that. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are online, there's a pretty active lively conversation in the chat box about this. So it's, you can continue to chat there about it. And people have different opinions, it seems, that it reduces the suffering of animals, and then also that it's looking at what exactly it says, that it's killing meat free, that it's not, isn't it terrible for your health? So I think there's some aspects to this utilitarian idea that it does kill less animals to do that, or also looking at, is that still okay for people's well-being and health? So that's, I'm sure, going to be a hot topic for quite a while. That is something that will be.
But so many new products are coming out that are plant-based, but that they're making to taste like meat, that I think that's going to be the answer. Although someone here is talking about food for cats who can't go vegan, and that remains an issue that we all have to deal with.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's an issue.
Yeah, right. But yeah, Beyond Meat. Somebody's mentioning Beyond Meat, that brand, and it is plant-based. Yeah.
I have another question that I wanted to bring up in here. It's from Melissa, and she's saying, so if we want to be able to use the energy that each of us possess, do we have to become Reiki masters?
No. You're already, so the answer to that is no, you already channel energy. And a good example of that is when you have a headache, it is your natural response to want to hold your head because you are making yourself feel better. What Reiki can do, and having a Reiki class and then you get an attunement to the energy, is that it makes you a clearer channel. So right now you're channeling, depending, maybe 10%, 10, 15, 20% of your capability. And going through these attunements and clearing out your system and being a clear channel will make it so that you can channel at 100%. Whether it's Reiki or prana or some of these other things. But like Healing Touch for Animals, they just teach you the hand placements and you do that. I will say that once I took Reiki classes, I noticed I could feel energy for the first time in a way that I hadn't. My intuitive capabilities started opening up much more profoundly. And so, no, you don't need to become a Reiki master. But it will make you clearer and a little bit stronger. And some scientists did some tests on this, actually, with Reiki specifically, because Reiki is the most common. And they could tell that people who had their only one Reiki class were much more advanced than people who didn't have any, and that people who had two Reiki classes were even stronger, and people who became Reiki masters were even stronger. And they tested this on green beans and all sorts of stuff that they were able to take pictures of.
Interesting.
Does that sound weird, testing this on green beans? You can do Reiki on green beans and flowers and all sorts of stuff, and they tested it on all sorts of things. Clarify that.
Mm-hmm. So the green beans would stay fresh longer, or?
They actually cut the green beans into pieces and then had the Reiki healers do energy healing on them, and they could see the green beans were trying to heal themselves from being cut. And and on flowers too. I've done it on flowers. I've had people, my pesky little brother who didn't believe in energy medicine but does now. He had me do a test on peony flowers, and we let this one flower start to die, and I started doing energy and brought it back, and we've done all sorts of stuff. But Reiki will make you stronger, or prana or whatever it is, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa,
so thank you.
After 8. Should we do our closing, or?
Sure. And for everybody who's on the call, everyone, since we're all in different time zones, it's a different time for everyone. But it is rounding up our hour, so I want to thank everybody for being with us this evening. It's a wonderful opportunity to be able to really chat as a community together in the chat box, online together. So it's certainly a privilege of this a new technical world that we have, that we can do this. So, Chico.
I totally agree. This is awesome. Yeah. It's great doing this. I'm reading, too, what people are writing and talking about the animals that have died just on this hour. And so before we do the closing, real quick, do you mind if I mention what I'm launching something in my business that I think everybody on this call might be interested in? And so my website, www.getsygrackle.com. That's my business, the Getsy Grackle. And I am launching a new program, and it's really where I support people who have a strong bond with a companion animal, and they feel like that sacred connection just isn't being taken seriously or given the respect or understanding, but want to have confidence and dignity so that they can have the same equality as other families. And this workshop or class that I'm going to be teaching is going to be covering basically all the things your vets won't teach you about health and wellness. It's going to be a 3-month course where you will learn about hospice care, what to do in case of natural disasters, just everything you could possibly imagine. It's a 3-month crash course to help you define your bond, demand equality in this relationship you have and everything. So if you're interested, I have about 8 slots that I'm opening up discovery sessions for. It's a guardian discovery session where we can talk I'll give you about 30-minute one-on-one. We can talk about what's going on in your life and see if this is a fit for you. And if you, after this call, pop over to my website, if this is something you're interested in, this will be online and telesummit and webinar. Just fill out the form on my homepage. I put that there for you specifically. And this is complimentary. This would normally be like a $100 discovery session. So this is complimentary for you just being an awesome vegan on this call. Just fill it out if you're interested, and then we can get in touch and talk about what's going on in your life or with your companion animals or what you're seeking to do if you're interested in this course that I'm going to be having coming up soon. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, thanks, Rachel. And the other thing is with the replay link, we'll send everybody information as well. Just if they need a link to that, we can send that along with all the other resources that we'll be sharing with you. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. And I think actually, Rachel, you have another little gift for us, a little closing meditation.
Yes, I do. So I'm just going to ask everyone to close their eyes and feel your feet firmly on the ground. And just sit up straight, as straight as you can. And with your feet on the ground, I want you to imagine that you have roots moving from your heart, the center of your heart, through your body, down your body and out through the bottoms of your feet, and into the earth, moving to the center, that core crystal of the earth. And when you feel that connection, just take a nice deep breath. Then I want you to feel a cord moving from your heart up into your throat, out the top of your head. That cord is moving up into the sky, and it's locating your brightest star. That one star that's yours. And I want you to find it. And when you find that star, take another deep breath. Really anchor in that energy. You're connected into the earth. You're connected into the stars. Completely grounded, completely safe, placing protection around everyone in this group. And I want you to take a moment to feel the energy moving around your body from that beautiful heart you have. Woo! I can feel that. And as this energy is moving around your body, just keep breathing from your belly. You are so beautiful, so magnetic, and you magnetize the things that you want and need in your life, the things that are appropriate for you, the tools that you need. And I want us to take that vibration that's moving around our whole body right now, and we're going to send it out. And we're going to send energy out into the planet, out onto the planet, onto the earth, wherever it needs to go. And I want you to think of someone specifically that you know that needs a little extra love, a little extra care, who might be physically hurt, emotionally hurt. And just wrap them in that energy. Send them a silent, I love you. Now as a group, I want us to energetically move to the place that's closest to me right now, and that's Canada. There's been so much destruction and harm, so many beings in Canada over the last week or two. All the fires. We're going to send that energy out into the forest to all of the animals who have lost their homes, to the animals who have lost their family members, who are scared, maybe don't know where to go. Wrap them in that energy. To the humans who have lost their homes, and to the humans who have lost their companion animals. I want us to take that energy, completely surround this space and bring healing to this area of the planet right now. There's so many homeless and injured beings. All around the world there are. But right now, I just want us to focus on this area. Trees, the nests, and I can really feel everyone there with me right now, and it's so beautiful. And now, let's just set the intention that this energy is going to go wherever it needs on the planet. It's going to go to slaughterhouses, areas where people or beings are being kept against their will, places where families are being separated, where babies are being pulled away from their mothers. And we're going to send that love and energy to those places and let them know that we love them. All the people, to all the beings. Energy is omniscient. It knows where to go. Send your hands and your palms out and either say out loud or to yourself, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, and I love you. And we're going to set the intention that that energy is just going to continue to work and do what it needs to do. And when you're ready, feel that root come up to the center of the earth, back into your feet, and that cord from your brightest star back down to your heart. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Well, thank you so much,
Rachel. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you. This was a real honor to be here, and I really enjoyed this. And if anybody has any questions, you know where to find me. You know where my website is, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that didn't get answered, or if you want to follow up on anything.
And we hope that you'll join us again next month. We offer this gathering each month, so we have great dates lined up every second Thursday of the month. So, and actually, Judy, you want to share who our next guest will be?
Richard Swartz, right? He's our next guest.
Yeah.
And he's with the Jewish Vegetarian Society, and he has lots of fascinating things to tell us. And he's moving to Israel because of all the vegan activity that's going on over there. He wants to be a part of that and help with that. So it'll be great to hear from him.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and we really appreciate all of the sweet comments in the chat box, and we're sharing that and sending it right back to you. And if you'd like to unmute yourselves, we usually do a group goodbye, so you're welcome to do that. And thanks so much to everyone for staying with us a little extra time. We really appreciate it. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Great. That's beautiful.